All right, and welcome to the Domains Podcast. I am Josh Thunder Shaver, and here joining me this week is
Victor Middleman Salazar.
sorry, Victor. I guess I probably should have been like, I'm going to let you introduce yourself this week.
Dude, you know what? It's all good. Dude, like one of the perks of working on domain and doing these podcasts with collaborators and everyone doing it together is sometimes we're gonna have Brian who's the expert at intros, and sometimes we're gonna have us
Right.
that are still working through it, dude, because we don't do it as often as
Right.
Brian does. So it's all good, man. As long as
Oh,
we're
yeah, I've
working
been out of it for
together.
a while.
Right? So especially
Yeah,
me,
absolutely.
I took myself a little break, and now that I'm back, so I'm like, all right, we got to start get this ball rolling, getting right into it. But today's show is going to be a little bit
Absolutely.
unique. It's going to be, Josh and I, we're going to go ahead and we're going to be chatting it up. So what are we talking about today, Josh?
Today we're talking about crossovers. And not just any crossovers, but every crossovers, good ones, bad ones that we wish would happen. We can even throw those in there, I guess, if we want, because this is our show and we can do what we want. Yeah,
Right?
times that different series, movies, TV, comic books. I mean, comic books happen all the time, so we don't even need to bring a lot of those up. But there were some crazy ones that are definitely notable.
Dude, I'm even gonna even throw in some fashion ones, dude. We even have some fashion crossovers that I'm gonna bring up that have been,
You
pretty
know what?
unique these past couple of years, dude.
Yeah, I can actually think of like I'm not even a very fashionable guy, but anytime that there's like a collaboration with something that I'm into, I know about it. That's a good
Right.
point. That's a real
Yeah,
good
dude.
point.
Yeah, dude. Because you know what? It's well. Let's. I'm gonna just start it off there, just because we can. But
Just to prove your
just to
point, yeah.
just to bring it out there. Well, first and foremost, in a very general statement, dude. Movies,
Hmm.
anime, everything, dude. That's gonna have merch.
Hmm.
That's just a given. So we're not gonna
Yeah.
talk about like backpacks or anything like that. What we
No.
are going to discuss though is some pretty unique, almost collaborations where just off the top of my
Yeah.
head, dude, Lightning from Final Fantasy 13 a couple years back
Hmm.
had herself a spread with what was it? Was it Louis Vuitton? Where she was up on
Okay.
billboards, sporting the bags, sporting, things of that nature. And
That's
that to
crazy.
me,
I didn't know
that
about that.
yeah, dude, she was like, you can say she was a model, dude. She was the model for some of that stuff. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe it wasn't Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton, but it was definitely a high-end fashion brand. Could have been
That's
Dolce
crazy, man.
Gabbana. And as I
Yeah.
was going through some of the items that we were going to discuss today, dude, I even came across another one that I did not know. And this was for
Hmm.
all you guys that are Jujutsu Kaisen fans. Dude, Jujutsu Kaisen
Okay.
has a collaboration with Dolce and Gabbana like right now, dude.
What?
And again, dude, you have Yuji, sporting the clothes. You got Maki and Megami, all of them sporting the Dolce and Gabbana clothes, dude. And I did not know that, but
That,
that's how crazy these
that's
collaborations can get,
crazy.
dude.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's great to throw it off right off the bat. Like, yeah, stuff that you'd never think. Um,
Yeah, because you know
oh
what,
man, that's a good one. And now,
a lot of people think that I'm not just to speak in terms of the anime stuff. A lot of people think it's quirky.
yeah,
A lot of people think it's nerdy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like there's a certain type of
right,
person that likes that stuff. But when you see it collaborate with a high end brand like Dolce and Gabbana, like Louis
yeah,
Vuitton, it takes it to another level where it's almost, I dare I say, it's hitting a mainstream type thing, but
mhm.
it's definitely a collaboration, or maybe even that's not crossover. There's a collaboration that you don't see it and you don't even expect, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and the one that you immediately made me think of, I had to look it up because I wasn't even sure of the name of the actual maker, but somebody went and made the clothes from Red Dead Redemption 2. That is an
Yeah.
actual clothing like you can go out and buy, and it's right here on my phone, and then I got mixed in with all the other words. Barking Irons Clothing. I'd never heard of them before, but they literally, if you can wear it in the game, they sell it.
See, that's cool, dude. I love the name Barking Iron. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you know what? it's crazy that there's makers out there that will take that step to say,
Uh-huh.
hey, you know what, man, this is something that's going to be unique, and I'm pretty sure we can find buyers for this stuff. And if it's they're still around, obviously someone's buying the stuff, man.
Oh
But
yeah.
I mean that's a big thing. And you know what? To go ahead and segue into some of that stuff, man. I was over at Universal City Walk, Hollywood. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with what that is, but it's pretty much like a strip area of shops and stores and stuff like that. And we were
Okay.
out there yesterday for my kid's birthday. My son turned 24 and wanted to go have lunch out in one of
Oh,
those
happy
restaurants.
birthday.
Thank you, thank you. So
Yeah.
as we were out there, I hit up TWA, I'm sorry, TFAW, which is Tfaw.comics, and in there,
Yeah.
dude, as I'm browsing some of the items and I'm looking at some very unique stuff, there was that 7 foot tall Iron Man and whatnot. But
Yeah.
what I was really drawn to though were the collab,
Mhm.
the crossover items, dude, like the Cobra Kai Ninja Turtle crossover, dude. Like, what's
Yes.
that?
That's something that they did just for the toys. Um, so this is where I'm about to make your brain take a dump. I'm actually going to explain the licensing to you now.
All right, go
So
for it.
Playmates owns all of the original toys designs, and they're allowed to keep their own designs going forward, but they're not allowed to do anything that has anything to do with the existing Turtles comics or movies going forward. They can make the original movies, they can make the original cartoons and stuff, but they can't really keep up with what's going on going forward. So in order to keep going with their thing, from what I've been able to understand, is they're doing these collaborations. Did you see the ones with the Stranger Things?
I did not see the Stranger Things ones, but which one are those?
Okay, so yeah, so they've got this Ninja Turtles meets Cobra Kai sets, and honestly, like I'm a huge fan of both properties. I was so excited. I went and looked at these figures. Look like crap, man. If you really look, up close, they do not look good. Um,
And you know what, man?
and
I took
eventually,
some pictures of a few, so I'm gonna definitely have that
yeah.
up on our social media. So if you guys are interested in seeing how they look, I'm gonna have that up for you guys.
So I eventually bought the Miguel and Leonardo 2 pack because that's the only Miguel that's out there. Um, oh, now I can't even. Diamond Select Toys has a really, really good run of Cobra Kai figures. Um, like for the original movie, you want to go with Icon Heroes. For the Cobra Kai series, you want to go with Diamond Select. But Diamond Select hasn't made Miguel, so I had to cave. He's on my shelf, and then that Leonardo is now also on my Ninja Turtles shelf as well. Um, and then they did the Stranger Things collaboration, where they used the designs of the original Turtles, so those look a lot more, older and retro. And again, I'm thinking about Buckland just for how cool it is, but I got to stop buying things just because they're out there. Um,
Yeah, I feel you on that,
because
dude. Because I was looking, I was thinking of you, man, as I was looking at these figures, and you're right
yeah,
next to the Donnie and Johnny Lawrence, crossover pack. We had the Last Ronin on there too, dude. And I was like, oh, dude, these are
yes,
so freaking amazing. But yeah, see, I didn't know
and
the
and those
details
are
as
those
to
have been hard
why.
to find too.
Are they
Oh
really? Oh,
yeah,
dude, they had stacks
those
full
those
of them,
last
dude.
those last Ronin figures have been hard to get a hold of. So those are done by NECA, and they've got the licenses for the movies, the animated series. Believe it or not, the concert tour is a 4 pack that I have. I don't know if they've expanded that to any of the other musical adventures that the Turtles did. Um, the comic books, the Archie comic books, and the original Mirage comic books, and then they also, I feel like, oh, and the video games. So that's where most of the licensing is for the Ninja Turtles. So those last Ronins, do you have you heard about the last Ronin series?
Oh, dude, that series is amazing. I thought it was awesome. I read that whole
Yes.
thing, dude. That story needs to be on the big
Yep.
screen because that story needs
Yes,
to be told
absolutely.
and given out to the masses because a lot of people don't know what the
Yes.
Last Ronin is. They don't even know it's a Ninja Turtles thing,
Oh yeah.
and it's a great story, dude.
It is. It's already so popular that at least in my neck of the woods, I had to have a Best Buy in a different part of the state send my Best Buy the armored Last Ronin so I can get it. But I know what was next to it that you were talking about, though, because Last Ronin really isn't a crossover, but we're talking about Turtles crossover. What was the next thing you saw?
Dude, so I had seen a handful of these. I mean, not only did
Uh,
I see the Cobra Kai and the Turtles one,
yeah.
dude, but I also spotted a Power Rangers and Turtles crossover. So I was like,
Yes.
what? Like that was
Yes.
also a thing. And I know we
Yes.
touched base on it for those that were listening in a couple of years back. We had Josh had made mention of this. But this was the first
Hmm.
time that I seen it with my own eyes, and it was like I just could
Yes,
not believe what I
sir.
was seeing, dude. I was like, "What?"
Hmm. Yep. I've got the full set of those figures. It was done. It's a comic series that they did too. The whole plot is based around, and now this is kind of weird because at least in this universe, the Ninja Turtles and the Power Rangers exist in the same United States. Um, but also, Power Rangers have been messing around with the multiverse for a while, so the canonicity
Yeah, what a word, right?
of of this crossover isn't really, like, nobody's really sure if it's actually happened within the that Power Rangers universe or if that was just kind of like a fun comic that they made. Either way, fun is the word that I use to describe it. So Tommy Oliver, still the Green Ranger, has been missing, and nobody knows where to look for. And then all of a sudden, there's this foot ninja that's been showing up, and he's just been sucker punching Raphael and getting the drop on the turtles, and no one knows what's going on. And finally, it ties together that Tommy Oliver has come to New York looking for his like childhood best friend who disappeared, and has been infiltrating the Foot to try to get higher up in the ranks to actually get to where his friend is, and goes, "Hey, I'm taking you home." And it just hadn't happened yet. And then along the way, it kind of goes sideways where Shredder goes, "Hey, bring that guy all the way up. He's my right hand man now."
Dude, and I took a picture of one of these things, and the ones that I
Oh
did take a
man,
picture was the foot soldier Tommy, and with the
yes,
morphed Raphael. That's right, guys, morphed
yes,
Raphael. But I was gonna touch base on this, man, because you're very knowledgeable
yeah,
as to what's going on and where these
yeah,
toys are coming from and why we're having these type of crossovers. But in terms of the story, dude, like where can
yeah.
we find this? Where do we see this? Where do we get that intel as to
So
why we're even getting these crossovers to begin with, or where we can even read the story behind it? Because I had no
so
clue that there was a story behind this, you know?
Oh yes, and this is a comic book from Boom Studios. Boom Studios is who's currently handling all of the Power Rangers like continuity right now. So have you heard about all of the Lord Draken and all that stuff?
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Boom Studios. So, and that kind of fits into the whole theme of the episode is that it's the first time that they've had all of the Power Rangers cross over like extensively. There's always been like an episode here or there or something like that within the series. There's the Forever Red and stuff like that. And then I don't remember the name of the episode, but it was like the Super Hyper Duper Mega Force. I stopped watching, regularly, but every once in a while somebody's like, "Yo, check out this episode. It's pretty
Yeah,
dope."
they get
So they
crazy,
did
right?
this
Yeah.
big Oh yeah, well they did this big two-parter that was kind of like the end of the Disney era of owning Power Rangers before they sold back to Saban, and they had this big Lord of the Rings style fight between the Machine Empire and like all of the Rangers. So I only like noticed a couple, but they were showing all these people. That's like, I'm sure if I watched that series, that would be cool as hell, but it was a lot of cool stuff. Um, but no, so Boom Studios kind of started doing they have a couple of different series they're doing now, but the specific Power Rangers meets Ninja Turtles, you can buy that in a trade paperback at any local bookstore. You can order online, real easy to get. It's been out for a couple of years now. In fact, they're currently issue one of the second Power Rangers meets Ninja Turtles just dropped last week.
Dude, I didn't know that, dude. Like, you know
Yep,
what?
they
I feel almost like it's fan fiction, dude. You know, it feels like a fan
it is,
fiction
except
type
it's made by
thing.
the people who
It,
own the property,
That's
and they're
exactly
giving
what I was
it
gonna
to
say,
us.
but these are like
Yeah,
official fan fiction type stuff, you know?
yeah.
But it's
Well, in the
crazy to
first
see
one,
these type of things, dude. It's insane
oh
to me.
yes, dude. Oh yeah. Well, in the first one, obviously the turtles get a hold of the morphers for whatever reason and end up morphing into the Power Rangers. Um, so in the sequel, not only are they showing the morphed turtles again, but they're also showing the Rangers kind of like mutated into their dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yes. So
So we're getting the
I haven't.
Zords that are essentially the Rangers now. They're combining into one entity as
Yes.
opposed to, the Ranger using a Zord, right?
Yes.
That's
Absolutely. So it's one of those things that man, I I have to wait for the whole thing to come out because it's so good. I read the first one all in one go after it came out, and I'm waiting for the second one all in one go after it came out. Um, but speaking of Hasbro popping these toys out, did you see the newest collab that Hasbro's got on pre-order and it hasn't really dropped yet?
dude. I don't even know, man. You gotta
Uh,
fill me in.
they are also doing a Cobra Kai crossover with Cobra Kai meets Power Rangers. Now,
Oh, no way, dude.
this one has no comic book to back it up. This has no show to go with it, other than the fact that you're a respected fan of both Cobra Kai and Power Rangers. And I'm trying to pull it up right now um, because
See,
I want to get it right.
and
So
see,
they've
and that's
got
and
a
that's what I
putty.
thought, dude. That's what I thought. I thought
Yeah.
that these were just, people. I'm sorry, not people, but companies trying to shell out toys, putting them out there. You
Uh
you
huh.
had you had spoke about the quality of some of these products, and I feel that sometimes it's just like a money grab, dude. It's a money
Oh
grab.
yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing is that Playmates, like at this point in time, it's kind of like, yeah, they know better. We all know they know better, but these are kids' toys, so whatever. But then when you get into like the Hasbro collector's edition stuff where they're selling for like $30 a figure, so
Hmm.
you got um the putty as the skeleton, because the
I
Cobra Kai
see it.
guys
I
always
see
wear the
it.
skeleton
Yeah,
costume.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at it right now, dude. Yeah, I see it. Oh,
Okay. And then you've
dude.
got Daniel LaRusso, and they're using the Ninjetti morphs. So he's the white Crane Ranger, and then Samantha LaRusso is the pink
The
Mantis
pink
Ranger.
one.
But
Yeah,
they're
I see it.
the ninja costumes from the movie. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's just
And
something fun that they did.
and those are the three I see. Are there any others besides these three?
Nope, that's it. That's all they've
That's
done
it,
right
right?
now. Yep.
Lightning
So who
collection is
knows?
what they're
They might
calling
do
it.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lightning Collection is the current Hasbro. So everything that Hasbro's doing right now, they've got the blank collection on it, just to kind of. So Star Wars has always been the Black series, so they kind of like left it as series instead of collection. But like they were doing the toys for all the new Ghostbuster stuff, so that's the Plasma Collection, and the Power Rangers is the Lightning Collection. GI Joe's is the Classified Collection. Um,
That's
I'm trying to
crazy.
think of what else they're making right now. But yeah, it's I think it's a real neat thing that they're doing. Marvel Legends are always Marvel Legends, so there's no collection of that, but it's a neat thing that they're doing.
Dude, they got never mind. It is Daniel. It's the same one. I was looking at the Daniel
Oh
one
yeah.
that they have on here too, but it's, they can put on the mask, you can take the mask off, so that
Yeah.
definitely comes with accessories where you can go ahead and you know, uh, move them and how do you say it, pose them in different ways,
Uh-huh.
different styles. So it looks pretty cool, dude. I really like how this looks.
Oh
That
yeah.
putty looks crazy, dude. I really like the putty. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. And it's all just to sell a toy. But
You know what, man? It's
you
it's
know,
it's it's crazy to me, dude, because like I like how you had made mention just now that
yeah.
kids don't know better, when you're young, when you're
Yeah,
small, you just want your
right.
favorite toy, not even favorite toy, but just you just want a toy that's going to resemble your favorite hero, action
Right.
figure, star, TV show, whatever. that
Hmm.
that was that was like the big boom of toys in the mid 80s, early
Yes.
90s. But you know what, those kids have grown up now. Those kids are us. And
Those
when we
kids are
see things,
me. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, and when we see things like this, we're like, dude, have you seen this? It's no longer just a
Oh yeah.
figure to sell. It's no longer just a toy. It's now a, dude, this is a great
Yes.
crossover. It's a story behind it. It's not just a toy like it was back in the day, dude. Or at least I feel that it's not just a toy anymore.
there's a ridiculous amount of detail that goes into action figures these days. And that's a whole other podcast. I love how every podcast we do, we go, and that's a whole other
That's
podcast
another
for later.
show. Yeah, that's a completely new show right there.
Every
Yeah.
single that's like our. I have a bad feeling about this from Star Wars. Each of our episodes is, and that's a whole other podcast for later. But
We got to go back and start marking those, man, because we got to make that show that we
yeah,
mentioned would be a show
absolutely.
back then. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I could talk about action figures for days. That's technically my job here is to be the action figure guy, and I still, don't make enough action figure episodes.
That's all right,
what I
dude. That's why I'm here.
yeah.
We're gonna do them together, man. But
Well,
these
and that's
particular
where a lot of the crossovers are because something I'm literally looking at right now. Did you know that a couple years ago, and then they've recently closed it off and done something different with it? But Mattel started making WWE wrestlers in the same molds as the Masters of the Universe characters.
no way. Maybe
Yeah, dude.
check
So
that out,
like,
dude.
I've got Ultimate Warrior with He-Man armor. I've got Macho Man with how He-Man and Skeletor had the battle armor, and you would push it and it would get progressively worse, and then you'd wind it back up. Yeah.
Yes, I'm looking at one
Yes.
right now, dude. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Masters of the Universe. It's
Yes.
got a big old WW on it, very reminiscent to the old school WrestleMania logo,
Oh
from like
yes.
WrestleMania 3. Oh, dude, this is so cool. I didn't even know these existed, man.
Dude, it's such a great set, and I don't have a lot of them because when I first saw them, I was like, oh man, I don't know about these. And then like they made Finn Balor, and I said, yo, I love Finn Balor. Okay, what else do I need? Macho Man.
Dude,
I
look at
need
this.
Randy Savage.
This
Yeah.
WWE Universe Grayskull Mania bundle, dude. I mean, come
Yes, they
on,
made
dude.
they made a wrestling ring as Grayskull, and then they did another one and painted it green and purple and made Snake Mountain as well.
Oh, dude, that is so cool. This particular set has John Cena and Terror Claws, Triple H,
Yes,
Terror Claws, dude. Come
yes,
on.
yes.
That is so cool.
Oh, it's so great. So there's been a lot of crossovers with toys, stuff like that for sure. I remember different things as Transformers in the past, but it's not always to sell you something. Do you remember back in the day when random sitcoms would just walk on into their neighbor's living room and it would be a different show?
Dude, for sure. That used to happen, quite frequently with the TGIF lineup, man.
All the
I recall
time.
I recall seeing some of that stuff going on there, and I'd be like, wait a minute, what show am I watching, dude?
Yeah, what show am I watching?
I
Yeah.
thought I was watching Family Matters. What's going on here,
Or they would have those events, the big Friday night event. I remember when we were kids, they did this thing where you had to go to Wendy's to get the 3D glasses, and each show had 3D moments that night for
Yeah, I
the
do recall that,
yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Man, that
That,
was
that
a
was some
crazy
that was some
gimmick.
that was yeah, I was gonna say that was some promotional brain power that was really put into some of these stuff,
Crossovers.
dude. And you
Yeah.
know what? And
Yeah.
even before then, we're gonna talk about shows, dude. I think this could be the first one to start it off in terms of animation, but
Yeah.
I can vividly recall the Flintstones meet the Jetsons. That
Absolutely.
probably is like the
Dude, my brother
crossover to start
loved
all
that movie.
crossovers, dude.
Yes, my brother loved that movie growing up. You want to talk about another throwback? And while I'm pulling up the details right now because I don't want to get anything wrong, specifically what I talked about earlier was Stephanie Tanner getting a visit from
From
Stephen Urkel
Urkel.
because she didn't want to wear
Yeah,
her
dude, I
glasses
remember
on
that.
Full House, dude. That was like a whole episode of Full House where like Stephen Urkel stops by. You don't even need to think about why he's suddenly
Why he's
in
there. Yeah, like
California as opposed to Chicago. Two
dude,
sitcoms that are very location based.
right. Well, one's on the West Coast, and one's in the Windy City, and yet there he is. I don't even remember. I don't even recall if they even mentioned as to why he was there. I want to say they didn't. I mean, they probably did, but this was so long ago, man. And I remember, dude. I remember that particular episode where he did show up, and Stephanie was still in a fit that she didn't want to wear glasses.
Yes.
She looked too nerdy. I think it was, or something along those lines. And Urkel had to come in and actually no, it wasn't Urkel. It was actually Stefan, right? I think it was Stefan that
No,
came in.
Stefan wasn't a character yet.
He wasn't a character yet. Then I'm thinking wrong. I was thinking Stefan when he's
Yeah.
being Mr. Cool Guy saying it's all right, it's cool. Wrong episode. But it was Urkel when he came up. I'm kind of looking up now. See, this is why you look things up, guys, to make sure you don't
Yes,
spoil
absolutely.
yourself. But he
See, I
did go up
usually have
there.
things preloaded to go.
See, I don't, man. I usually shoot from the hip. But you know what? You're right. You're right. You're right. I remember seeing Stephanie and Urkel together, but I didn't picture Urkel, dude. In my mind, I was picturing Stefan. But
Oh no, it was definitely. Oh, Stephanie, what's wrong? I wear my glasses and I'm pretty cool. Yeah, thanks. That makes me feel so much better. Is pretty much
see,
how that conversation went.
but that's what I remember. I remember that it was it's cool to wear glasses, and that I guess just the coolness of Urkel. I automatically picture Stefan. That's why I'm saying I think it was Stefan that was there, and not Steven Urkel. But yeah,
I
talking
remember
about
like him getting on
collaborations, dude.
Danny. Yeah, I remember like him getting on Danny's nerves. Hey, here's something fun you can do, and he's like, "Get out of my house." Uh,
He needs cheese, dude.
um,
He needs
oh yeah,
cheese. Yeah, give him
cheese,
cheese.
cheese, cheese. No, and I had because I couldn't remember the exact title. So what I was looking up was the cartoon All Stars to the Rescue. Do you remember that?
Cartoon All Stars. No, I'm picturing a different All Star show. I'm picturing one with Wayne Gretzky. I think it was Bo Jackson and Michael Jordan. No, I could be wrong
Michael
there.
Jordan. Yeah, that
It
was
wasn't Michael
yeah.
Jordan.
Oh, bro, yes, it was.
Is it that one or is it a
That's
different
taking
show?
it back.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it
a
was
different,
different. It was Cartoon All
show.
Stars to the Rescue, and it was an anti-drug PSA that was paid for by the Reagan administration. And this one single cartoon, all right, had Slimer from the Real Ghostbusters, Animated Alf, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, the Chipmunks, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, the Muppet Babies, Winnie the Pooh, Garfield, the Smurfs, and it looks like Tigger is the last one on the box.
I don't recall this. I gotta look this up real quick. Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
you
I see that.
absolutely
Oh, you
have
know
to,
what?
man.
Yes, 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 yes. I do recall this. To the
Yeah,
rescue,
so
Cartoon All Stars to the
yes,
rescue. This was like in the
yes.
90s, dude. Yeah, I recall
Dude, we
this.
had we had that on VHS and watched it all the time. I don't know why that was just like the one thing that me and my brother always used to watch. But man, we failed them cartoon characters for sure.
But you know what? No joke about that, huh? But you know
uh,
what, man? PSAs were something that were notorious for using favorite characters to really give out
yeah.
messages, positive messages for sure. But nevertheless, those two were also some pretty weird connections, and I specifically remember
Mhm.
back in the early 90s in southern Los Angeles, the Metro rail line was just opening up like in 91, 92, 93, whatever it was. And they had the Ninja Turtles there to,
Yes.
shell out public safety
Public
on the
safety.
rail system to make sure that kids were out
Yup.
there to know what's up, how to use the rail, make sure that, they weren't getting hurt. And I was astounded that they had the turtles there, to
Yeah.
promote rail safety. And that's another one where, the city will use characters that they need to connect with the kids to make sure that they get the message across. And it just
Absolutely.
it's baffling, or not baffling, but it's so surprising to me how these characters get tied in to those types of messages, shows, movies, and anything else, toys. And it's that list can go on and on, dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you remember? Actually, it wasn't even that long ago. It was the last set of the Olympics when they were in Tokyo that Goku was the ambassador for
Yeah.
Tokyo
Yep, yep,
because they
yep,
were
yep,
like,
yep.
"Yeah, we need someone that people know. Who do we know? Goku. Absolutely, everybody knows Goku.
Dude, yeah, right. Everybody knows who Goku is. It's just crazy, dude. Even at that level, look, think about that, dude. We're talking about the Olympics.
Yeah,
The best of the best, the zenith of physical and just the best of the best of what a
uh,
human can do. And we got Goku, animated
just
character, to be
Goku,
the face. You know what I
just
mean?
beating Goku. I always thought
Dude.
that was great,
It is. It is. It
man.
is. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to bash
Yeah,
it at all. I'm just saying that
yeah,
that's amazing. It's
yeah.
amazing that we can make that connection. We as in
Well, nerd
society,
culture is so huge
culture, dude.
now.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I was kind of like touching base on earlier, is that,
Mhm.
those kids, those 80s kids that had these toys are
Oh
now
yeah.
the adults that are growing up, that are now the ones that are really pushing this type of phenomena, to make it what it is today, as
Mhm.
as I was talking to you about the city walk. We were out there, and my wife and I were just sitting on a bench, people watching, and it was great, man. You had people walking up and down in robes, Harry Potter, Universal Studios. We had people going
Yeah.
up and down with, Mario gear and everything else. And we weren't talking about, just a backpack. No, dude, you're talking about
Yeah.
full deck on sweater with the
Full
hat,
gear,
full
man.
gear, like they were ready to go.
Swag.
And
Yes.
and there was no hiding any of that. Everyone
No,
was just
absolutely.
enjoying it, and
Full
more power.
regalia.
Yeah, dude, they were like, I'm here and I'm gonna enjoy myself. And
Yep.
it was great. It's great. I love seeing it. I love seeing that, dude. I love seeing the confidence that a lot of people have now to be able to express their love
Hmm.
for all things, whatever. Whereas before there would be a stigma to that. It was like, dude, you're a
Yeah.
nerd, man. You like Star Wars? What? And then you
Hell
got
yeah, I
people
do.
walking down,
Damn
you
right.
got people walking down this walk, dude, with the lightsaber straps to his belt. And he's like, dude, that's freaking awesome, dude. You know what I mean?
This. Oh yeah, this is a real story for me being 9 years old. Okay, so I'm with a couple of my buddies, and we're standing out in the front yard, being little kids in the '90s. Just playing with lightsabers. These are '90s lightsabers, so they were pretty generic. They not the cool ones that we have
That we have
nowadays.
today, right? Made
It's
out of
it
plastic,
was
probably chipped here and there,
base
broken, right?
chipped as fuck. There was literally like it was literally a flashlight with the three tubes where one of them was smaller than the other until it gets to the
Until
end.
it gets tight,
You
right? Yeah,
know,
I know what you're talking about, dude.
yeah,
I had one of those. I had
yep.
me a handful of those too.
And we were having the time of our lives up front. I'm Luke Skywalker. No, I'm Luke Skywalker. You suck. You, because that's all the choices was back then. And seriously, somebody drove by, those fucking nerds, and then throws garbage at us. And it's like,
Dude, no
man,
way. That's a jerk
yes,
move,
that's
dude.
yes, that is the things that the nerd culture had to go through to get to where we're at today.
That's true, dude.
And
I
now
think it was so
uh,
tough for young ones to really express what they were like. You know what? It's funny that
oh
you made
yeah,
mention of lightsabers. What I would do is when I lived in the projects when I was younger, and some of the kids would get together and we'd be out in the grassy field, and what we would do is we would pretend to be Street Fighter characters. So we would be like
oh
Hadouken,
man,
and we would do this,
Hadouken.
that. Yes, that's what we would do because that's what we were into. But
That's
talk about paying dues, man, to see, where
yeah,
it is
man.
today.
You
And you
trashed
know
on
what?
on
And
me.
and I make it an effort, dude. I make it an effort if I see a young one that's
Hmm.
sporting, a dress, a coat, a cap, a hat, a sweater, whatever that is expressing what they
Yeah,
like. I'll tell them straight up, hey, that's a cool dress, that's a cool jacket, that's a cool sweater. Oh, that
right,
backpack is awesome, just to give them that positivity.
right.
Say it's cool, man. That's cool to do.
You know who's not okay? The moms. No, I'm kidding.
The moms are not cool. They got to go buy this
We're
stuff.
not cool with you.
They're still
No,
calling
no.
Xboxes Nintendos, right? That's the
Nintendo's
mom.
right. Midwestern mom. No, that's it's funny. That's something we missed when we were talking about the different Ninja Turtles collabs that they've been doing with action figures lately. Did you know that there was a Street Fighter meets Ninja Turtle collaboration going
No,
on?
I didn't see that either, dude. See, I'm telling you, the
It's
turtles are everywhere, man. They're on all kinds
yes.
of stuff right now. Let me look these up real quick.
Oh yeah, yep. Rachel got me the Leonardo and Ryu for my birthday this last year, and what I really like about it is the box looks like an arcade stand, and it's got the buttons and the joystick on and everything. It's absolutely awesome.
Dude, let me peek these out real quick. Oh, I see, dude. Oh, these are really cool. See, man,
Yes.
I'm a nerd for this kind of shit, man. This is pretty good. I love this stuff.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even
Well,
know
I
these exist. How
mean,
long have these been out?
my birthday's in October, so they came out like end of November or no, end of September, beginning of October. The other way, dingus. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it
yeah, that's
those
cool.
those have been out for just a couple months. Those are pretty cool.
It's like a makeshift arcade cabinet. It's got,
Yeah.
the card. I'm assuming it's cardboard. It's got like, painted buttons on it and stuff with a
Oh
joystick.
yeah.
That's pretty
Oh
neat, dude.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Chun
So
Li,
other
Leo, I
things that I've
see.
been yes, yes. I
Nice,
like that Chun Li
nice.
too. And then, did you play the Power of the Grid video game that they had?
No, remind me. Maybe I did, but
Talking
it
about
doesn't sound
Power of the
familiar.
Grid is kind of like the video game that is the story of the whole Lord Draken thing, but told through like a fighting game style. So like you'd fight someone and then you get a cutscene to tell more of the story, and then you'd fight someone and then you get more of the story type stuff.
No, dude, does not sound familiar to me at all. Power
Oh
Rangers
man, yeah,
Battle
it's
of
a
the Grid?
Power Rangers Battle of the Grid fighting game.
Yeah, I'm
And
looking at it.
there are two guest characters, Ryu and Chun-Li. So that's another thing that they've made action figures of that are on my shelf right now. It is Ryu and Chun-Li as a Power Ranger.
Let me take a look at that.
We should just
Yeah.
retitle this Power Ranger crossovers. Um,
The
but
turtle
no,
crossovers,
we're
dude, because turtles have
right.
been in pretty much
Turtle and Power
everything,
Ranger
dude.
crossovers.
Oh, and even
Oh
if you
yeah,
want to talk about, that's not a crossover. That's another collaboration. I was going to mention
I know,
Vanilla
and it's like
Ice. I was
I
going to mention Vanilla
specifically
Ice.
get Go Ninja, Go Ninja.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was funny because I specifically wanted to like talk about other things, and I'm thinking about all the fun things too. Um, so I'll kind of move away from that cloud now. Did you see the Family Guy and Simpsons crossover episode?
Yes, I did catch that. Yeah.
That
That
was
was
one of those ones that everyone wanted for so long, and then we got it, and they're like, "There,
yeah.
you got it."
Yeah. That's exactly right. I was gonna say,
That's
that
kind of
was a
how I
little bit on
felt
the
about it.
weird side, you know.
Right.
It felt very forced, and it could have been great. It could have been something amazing,
It could have
but
been great.
it
And
didn't work.
at least it had a chicken fight. I don't know. But it's kind of like they kind of call you out in the middle of watching it. It's like, why would these two random families suddenly become friends? I don't know. It seems like the thing to do. All right, let's do it.
It worked for the Flintstones and the Jetsons. They figured the
And the
Simpsons and the
Jetsons.
Griffins
That's
would
where
do
we're
it too,
at
dude.
now. Oh man. Well, did you see the Scooby Doo and Supernatural crossover?
No, I am not. Look, I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. I'm not a fan of Supernatural.
That's
That's right.
fine. You don't have to be. I'm a fan enough for the
Can we be
both of
friends?
us.
Can we still be friends? You still be friends? That's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
not one of those people. Absolutely. You're not a fake nerd, so you have
Dude,
enough credit in other
in other areas that it's
other
okay, it's
areas, right?
permissible, huh? No, dude,
Right.
I've
Your
tried
nerdom has been proved.
I tried to get into the supernatural and I could not, dude. After a handful of episodes, I could not sit and I can watch it. So you know what? I can't do this. So I don't.
There
When
are
I
some
can't do
bad
it, I stop.
episodes, but there's some good ones as well. Well, they did an episode where they woke up in Scooby Doo, and it had like the actual current Scooby Doo voice cast. They did a very good job at it. Um,
That's such a weird
yes. No, it
that's a
fits.
weird
It fits.
connection, dude.
It
Does
fits
it?
better than the fucking Boston Globetrotters for hanging out with Scooby Doo.
Oh, I remember
Or,
that one too, dude. I remember
or
that one
oh
too.
man, that the whole Scooby Doo series that was just crossovers. This
It was
week we're
left and right.
meeting
Yeah.
Batman and Robin, and it was
But you know
mostly
what?
Batman and Robin because what's his name? The same guy did the voice as Robin, did the voice for Shaggy back in the day, and I can't think of his name now. It's because I'm on the spot.
Oh, that's why, huh? It's just you're
Yeah,
foggy, dude. You're a little foggy because
yeah.
Josh is a little sick, guys. So
Clearly, I'm
we
sick. Yeah,
thought
I've been trying to
he
keep it out of
sounds a
the
little
show.
weird. That's what it is, man. But that fog brain is setting in right now because this guy usually knows names like just pulls them out of thin air. But
Thin air.
let me look up
But they met
Shaggy's
Laurel
voice.
and Hardy. Yeah, they met Laurel and Hardy. They met the Boston Globetrotters. I say Boston Globetrotters. They're not the Boston Globetrotters. Oh my god, they're gonna tear me apart for
Harlem,
this
dude.
episode.
Harlem.
Harlem Globetrotters. Wow, I'm a terrible person. We can just go ahead and cancel me now.
Dude, it's all right, dude. You're sick. We're just
But
chalking it up to the sickness, dude. It's a sickness.
uh,
So we're talking about the Shaggy voice actor. Was that
Casey Kasem,
Casey Kasem?
yes.
There you go.
Yes. And he was also Robin in the current animated Batman series. Or no, it was just the challenges. It was the Batman series and the Challenge of the Super Friends.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, so I didn't know that that connection led to a lot of Batman and Robin crossovers with Scooby-Doo. But and I always felt that with
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo,
absolutely.
some of those crossovers just worked because it was always, the monster of the week with
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo. So it was
yeah,
always,
absolutely.
I didn't really feel there was much continuity there. So you can just plug in and play
This week
different
we're
wherever,
meeting
dude.
Don Knotts.
Exactly. You're like, what?
What? Why? Cloris Leeseman? Who and why?
Ah, dude, I gotta click this up real quick. I'm gonna do Scooby Doo crossovers, and we're gonna just get all kinds of craziness
Oh
here.
yeah.
Let's see, Scooby Doo crossovers. Do they have
And now,
movies? They have all kinds of crap that's
oh
showing up
yeah.
here, dude. Johnny Bravo was on Scooby Doo,
Yes.
the supernatural
Yes.
one you were talking about. Scooby Doo and
That
Kiss.
was
How can I forget that one? The Rock and
that
Roll
was a
Mystery,
movie.
dude.
Yes.
Doesn't
Oh
matter.
man,
It
they
still
did Scooby
counts.
Doo
It
meets.
still counts.
Yes. Yep. They did Scooby Doo meets WWE. I remember that now.
Oh,
Oh
dude. I
man.
mean, Scooby is just that should be like synonymous with crossover. Dude, straight out of nowhere, Scooby-Doo meets Courage, the Cowardly Dog. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a WrestleMania mystery one. Dude,
Yes.
they were just all over the place
Scooby
with
Doo was
Scooby.
everywhere. They're the king of crossovers.
Dude, they are, and I think it's because the story, but the show itself, it allows for that because it's always,
Hmm.
again, monster of the week, mystery of the week. And if if Courage the Cowardly Dog had some kind of mystery in his universe, the mystery machine was there to figure it out. So it worked
Yeah.
out to just, plug in and play all kinds of characters to figure this thing out, dude. But this is so crazy. This is so fun, dude. I
The
can't believe
Scoobyverse is wide.
I forgot all about stupid, Kiss, the Rock and Roll Mystery. That one was just
Yes.
amazing, dude. But
Oh
but
man.
even if you want to jump into that, dude, and I'm not very versed in this one, but we got Scooby, I'm sorry, not Scooby, Shaggy, the ultimate fighting being in this universe, that's showing up,
Yeah,
kicking ass
dude.
everywhere, dude.
Have you played multiverses?
No, and I stay away from them for that reason, is because I feel like
Oh
once we get to so many characters, once the character base is so vast, it feels a
man.
little overwhelming for me. So it's like, dude,
That's
like
actually, yeah. I don't even know why I didn't think to bring that up as a big crossover because they literally said we own all these characters.
everybody,
We're just gonna
exactly.
start throwing them in. We're just gonna start throwing them in.
Just
And what's
throw the whole
crazy,
lineup, dude. The whole lineup is in there, dude. Everybody.
and what's really crazy is that the news on that game is so silent right now. Like when they were first coming out, they were like, "Hey, the domain, we would like you to play our game in alpha." And it's like, cool. I was like, please stream this and share it with all your followers. And I was like, oh, all right, then dope. Yeah, let me do this. And then they came out with the season one started, and then there's like no. First of all, they haven't been sending me any like news things. There hasn't been any news going out anywhere else. So it's like, where are all these other characters coming from?
Yeah.
What
It's
what are you
been
doing
so
with our money?
silent. Yeah. So
It
silent.
has. I haven't loaded it up in a while, but every time like I do hear something, it's like, oh, that's not. I heard that like one of the characters that they're coming out with like Ted Laszlo, and it's like that's an HBO show that I haven't seen. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay with
It's
that.
like
I
what
guess. I mean,
they're throwing everybody into that multiverse.
they
So I'm
added
telling you.
LeBron James.
Yeah. But see, this is what
Yeah,
I'm talking about. It gets overwhelming because you know what? I've always been I grew up with the Street Fighter, dude. I grew up with the very first one only had two playable characters. It was either Ken or Ryu.
yeah,
And then after
yeah.
that, we expanded to 8. So once we get to that 8 to 10 to 12, Mortal Kombat slowly started expanding, slowly started expanding.
Hmm.
I was in there, I was in it, I got it. But once you started to get to 20 plus playable characters, whether it be, different alternate versions of the character or whatever, the more options that I have in terms of character select, the more turned off I am on it, dude. That's just me.
Okay.
And I feel
Yeah.
because there's just too many options that there's too many counters. This particular character is just a counter to this other character that's on the other side of the screen. And there's just
Yeah.
um options that it starts to feel
Hmm.
like I know we ventured off, guys. I'm sorry. But it just starts to feel like if you
Well, and
chose
we
the
can tie
wrong
it in.
character, dude, if you chose the wrong
Yeah.
character, you're screwed. That's it. So there's no skill
Yeah.
involved in that
No, I
sense.
get
At
that.
least
I
to
get
me.
that. Well, because Street Fighter had so many crossovers too. You had the Capcom versus SNK. You had Street Fighter
Yeah.
versus X Men. You had Marvel versus Capcom. It.
They went on, dude. Street Fighter was another one that I thought was really cool. And the one with the X-Men one was the one that I really liked, only because I was always a huge fan of the X-Men. And I always go back to those trading cards from the 90s because those were works of art. And that really drawed me into the whole X-Men universe there. But let me just pull this up real quick because I want to take a look
Yeah,
at some
absolutely.
WWE and X-Men because I want to make sure we got this.
I don't know about
X-Men Royal Rumble, dude.
that. What?
It's out there. It's out there. Oh man. I'm telling you, see some of this stuff, some of these collaborations, some of these crossovers are just they baffle me, dude. It's fun. But you gotta look at it at that way. At the end of the day, it's fun. So don't be
Yeah,
too critical.
absolutely.
Don't be too critical.
No.
Don't try to bash anything, man. You're talking about a fun time where someone's saying, hey, you know what? And we used to do this all the time as kids.
Hmm?
I mean, don't lie, dude. You'd be sitting there and be like, dude, wouldn't it be cool if, Teddy Ruxpin and the Care Bears got together and kicked some
Got
ass,
together, yeah.
They took out Rainbow Bright or whatever. This is what's
Well,
going on. This is what that is, man.
oh yeah, the dream teams.
It's a dream
When
team.
we
There
were
you go. Thank
kids,
you.
yeah, when we were kids, we would put those together too. And I started trying to think back about it because there is like the number one king of the first crossovers, and I'll bring that up last, like the very last thing we talk about on this episode. But something that really got it, like in people's heads, that you don't have to keep, characters to their own shows or whatever. Do you remember Xena, Warrior Princess, and Hercules: The Legendary Journey?
Yes.
And how those shows would run concurrent to each other, and like
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell's character would go back and forth, all the time, but like they would have stories where just like, yeah, this time Hercules is over here and this time Xena is over here, and they would just have random like two-parters that would be part of the other person's series, and those shows just went back and forth all the time.
It felt like they were just a part of their own of their own little universe, essentially.
Yeah.
Lucy Lawless, right? Lucy Lawless was
Yeah.
Xena. Yeah, and it was so it's crazy you mentioned that because that show in particular would sometimes throw me off when you would see them both in the same screen because then you'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
so what show am I watching?
What show am I watching now? Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't uncommon to walk into the living room and see, somebody wearing, like mostly leathers and be like, oh, is this Xena or is this Hercules?
There's Hercules. Yep, that's exactly right. Dude, that's crazy. That's still fun. That's so funny.
And that happened all the time too back then. It was just kind of like accepted. Just like with the sitcoms and stuff.
It's good because it was fun, man. It's what it was.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just some fun times, and it's one of those deals where it does make you wonder though if the show itself just ran out of ideas, or if they're saying let's do it together just to be a part of the show. But it's fun. You got to look at it and you got to think it's fun. That's just what it is.
Well, and another one I wanted to talk about, and fun is the way I guess you would describe it best, because definitely serious is not the way that anyone took it. The crossover fight that took years to get the rights to happen, Freddy versus Jason.
Oh, dude, that's another one, right? Yeah, that's
people either love that movie or hate that movie.
Yeah.
And see, I've always been a huge Jason fan. I don't know, when I was a kid, like he just scared the shit out of me. And that's just kind of like what always drove me in, is that like Jason scares me. The rest of them is just like fun to laugh at. Freddy Krueger, he makes dick jokes. The Leprechaun, he also makes dick jokes. Jason, no, he just cuts people to fucking half and then it's over with.
Man of few words and plenty of action, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So when they made because they kind of set that up at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, where Freddy Krueger's glove comes up out of the ground and grabs it. And then
grabs the mask.
For years, they had to just wait for the pieces to fall into place so they could actually make that movie happen. And then it finally ended up where both characters were owned by the same studio and yada, 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 and this and that. And, it was pretty well received. And then they came up with the idea for a sequel. Did you ever hear about the sequel?
The Freddy versus Jason 2?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure something about that one. I did not see that though, but I know it exists.
2 is not the title. So originally, I guess I'll go through the whole line of it. Originally, it was supposed to end with both of them, waking up in hell and Pinhead going, "Welcome to my world. I have such sights to show you," and all sorts of shit. And then they finally realized, like, no, that's not going to be good. And somebody goes, "What if we have them fight Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams?" And everyone was like, yeah, that would actually be dope. That would be the coolest story ever. Because Also, in Jason Goes to Hell, you find out that Jason is actually like a being powered by the Necronomicon. So
Yeah,
he's,
yeah, yeah.
kind of a Deadite, just from a different page in the book. He's just using different spells from the same book, So it's like, all right. So that actually wasn't allowed to happen, obviously, because of different things and whatnot. So they actually made a comic book called Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, which had a sequel. And so there's technically 3 of these stories out there, with the 1 movie and the 2 comic book stories, but they're pretty good, man.
I gotta check that out, man. But you know what? Ah, I'm gonna touch base real quick on the Freddy Krueger glove coming up, grabbing the mask and bringing it
Yeah,
down. That
yeah.
was like the perfect setup for
Nobody
something that
expected that.
that should have been amazing. And it goes back to, like you had said, man, kids putting things together. There we have the dream team. We have who's gonna do what. Let's throw in Ash with Jason and Freddy, and just make something happen. And it's hit or miss, guys. It's always hit or miss when you throw in these collaboration, these crossovers together, because you have different kinds of fandoms getting together, and some of them are like, dude, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you gonna do
Right.
that? In this particular instance, we have Deadites, and like, dude, that doesn't work. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? But that's what makes it fun, and we got to keep that in mind. Is that these things are made for fun, because it's not expected to really be as serious as a Jason movie itself, or even Freddy movie on its own. It just they don't work. Those work better as standalone characters as opposed when you throw them all together at once.
Oh yeah. Well, do you remember, thinking about some comic books? Do you remember Spawn meets Batman?
Yes. Oh, Todd McFarlane
That was
Spawn. I love
that
that,
was
dude.
pumped up. That was something that everyone was like, "Oh my god, Batman meets Spawn, yeah!" And then it was like the worst comic book ever.
Yeah, this goes
It
back to the
was
fandoms don't work. It's that the stories just don't
it
jive.
was
Because
not good. It was not a good story.
because Spawn is awesome, and I love the story behind Spawn. But yes, that particular story with Batman did not work. It just, dude, that was bad.
Batman kept calling Spawn a punk, and it's like, no,
Like,
that's
dude,
not
come
even
on.
how Batman talks.
But that's just what it is, man. See, you're trying to bring these two together, and you have to be able to make a story that's
Yep.
gonna work. You can't just
Oh
throw in the
yeah.
characters and then they just call it a day.
Well, and then you had the big Marvel versus DC crossover event,
Ah,
where
dude.
they literally had Marvel comics and DC comics. So the premise is that there's this character that is somehow owned by both Marvel and DC, and his name is Access. And to this day, he is still owned by both Marvel and DC in the joint structure. And he can actually go between the multiverse, like that's his power. And not just like the multiverses that are closely together, but the ones that are very, very far apart, and merge them together.
That doesn't
So
make
that's
no
why.
sense, dude.
So you've got Marvel with their vast multiverse, and you've got DC with their vast multiverse. So in their own eyes, that's the entire multiverse, is different versions of Superman and Batman. Well, no, there's alternate parallel universes out there. Superman and Batman are a comic book and TV show, and you've got Captain America and Iron Man running around. You know what I'm saying? So this one character merges the two, and it starts this big fight. But because he merges the universes, because they're so opposite, they literally start to become merged together. Um, so
Wait,
in the
hold on, hold
middle
on,
of,
hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me get this straight.
yes,
So the
yes,
universes, the multiverses are merging together. Is that what I'm hearing?
yes,
Dude, then what's the
yes.
point of having a multiverse?
So
Dude,
so check this out. So check this out. So in the middle of this like 6 issue series, there's issues 1, 2, and 3, and then for like 2 months they did amalgam, and DC published some of them and Marvel published some of them, but both companies put out these books where it was combinations of characters. So you're getting characters like Darkclaw, which is Wolverine, but now he's Batman, and Bruce Wayne is now the head of Shield instead. Um, you've got Spider Boy, because at the time Ben Riley was Spider Man and not Peter Parker, so you've got him combined with the clone version of Superboy to be Spider Boy, and he fights Bizarnage, which is Bizarro and Carnage merged together.
I like that. Bizarre
Oh
Nage. I
yeah,
like that. I like
Bizarrenage. They
that.
had all sorts of them. I remember the craziest one was Lobo the Duck, as in Howard the Duck and
That sounds
Lobo as
so
one character.
funny, dude. No way. Lobo the duck.
Absolutely. That is the thing that both separate companies signed off on. And I don't remember if that one actually came from Marvel or DC, but yeah, it's a real thing. And then they
Dude,
had
that's
those 2 months of those
astounding.
issues and then came back and then did the rest of the series that wrapped it up and explained, how everything got saved and whatnot. But it's pretty neat because they literally printed these issues like you're coming into the middle of a continuity. So there'd be like letters from the editor. It's like, read back to Iron Lantern number 32 for the answer. Green Lantern, Iron
No
Man.
way, really?
Yeah,
See,
dude, absolutely.
dude,
It
that's
was
crazy.
great.
Dude,
But
how do you feel about that, dude, when the editor has to refer to hey, you know what,
oh,
get the
that
piece of lore that's back over here, dude, you know?
I
I think
I miss
that's
that from old comics. I miss it. But we are kind of coming to some time. But what I really wanted to give the biggest shout out to was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
dude, what crossover is Who Framed Roger Rabbit with? Let me get tickets. I gotta love this shit.
He's
Or
got
are you
everything in
talking
it.
about the movie?
He's the
The
movie
movie
itself. They
itself? The
featured
movie
characters
itself,
from all
yeah.
over the place. Yes, they had cartoons in it.
They did, yeah.
Like back in the day, everyone was really super territorial about who owned what cartoons,
See, dude, to me,
and
it was a
that
given already, man. I was like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I know that he was with the Toons, you know? Everyone was in there.
yeah.
But you're absolutely right.
But you kept them separate before that.
It's right. It completely
So
slipped my mind that that movie itself
yes,
was just a complete crossover with all the Looney Tune characters that played a part in that film.
the Looney Tunes, the Disney characters, the everybody, man.
Dude,
It
everybody,
was
yeah. That
yeah,
Toontown business, Edwards, where Toontown
yep,
comes from, that whole thing, all of that was a crossover bit into the movie Who
yes,
Framed Roger Rabbit. I completely forgot about that one. That was
yeah.
perfect. That was perfect.
So a lot of everyone daring to do so further on was kind of like everyone kind of owes that to Roger Rabbit. And have you seen the new Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers thing that they did?
I have not seen the movie. I haven't seen that, dude. Is it good?
First of
Because
all, it's not
I
it's
get
not
mixed messages.
terrible.
I get mixed messages.
Yeah, it's understandable. So what it is it's very meta. It's almost so meta that it ruins your mood while you're watching it. But then you just kind of let things go when it happens, and it's pretty funny. Definitely made for us and not the kids,
Oh,
but
really?
not
See,
in like a they swear and it's raunchy way. It's just kind of like the tone of the movie is definitely more of like a serious themed movie. Just happens to be cartoon characters in it.
like not to give too much away, but my understanding of the whole film is pretty much, I guess an existential type thing where we have the CG and we have the 2D.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume the theme of the movie is going to be based around that aspect.
No,
No? Okay.
no,
So then,
that's not even like super important. That's just kind of like a
no?
thing.
See, I thought it
Um,
was, and I thought that's what the movie was going to focus on.
no, no.
But
The
I
whole
gotta
plot
catch it.
is that oh yeah, it's a very meta thing where like this isn't the characters from the show. It is the characters in the movie are as if they were actors that did the show back in the 90s and they've since moved on.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, Chip becomes an accountant. He works an office job, real quiet life. Dale, however, like still clings on to the fact that he was on TV in the 90s and goes to conventions and stuff. And
He
like
relives the
the
good old days,
cameos in
huh?
this movie. Yeah, and they even like straight up, like reference like I did the Roger Rabbit with Roger Rabbit. We owe everything to that guy. And then they go on and like there's I mean
This
man,
is a
the one I
perfect
will tell
call
you
out right
because it
there.
was absolutely perfect is there's a convention scene and there's He-Man and Skeletor and it's just like oh my god. Like they even got He-Man and Skeletor in this movie.
I gotta check it out now. You know what? I had mixed messages about it. Some people were saying it's pretty good, other people saying it wasn't. So I haven't given it the
it's
time of day myself, but I'm gonna go check that out.
right.
Is that on
It's
Disney
definitely
Plus?
worth checking out. It is on Disney Plus,
It
yeah.
is? Yeah, I'll catch
Yep.
that today.
Yep.
Dude, but
It's
yeah,
great.
Who
I
Framed
liked it.
Roger
I didn't
Rabbit?
hate it.
I think you're right.
Who
I
Framed
think
Roger Rabbit started it all. Yeah.
was the one that started it all. I think that's the one that really gave the okay
Yeah. Yep.
to not only branch off with one particular business, but to several. because there was
Yeah.
several
Well,
properties in
competing
that movie, dude.
with
Competing
competing
properties,
properties. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
That's
Because,
the right way to
you,
put it.
you had back in the day, you got Laurel and Hardy meets the Wolfman meets Frankenstein, but they never competed with each other. But Roger Rabbit, you've got Mickey Mouse and
Competing with the tunes, yep.
with Bugs Bunny walking
Hmm.
down the street like they're pals, So,
Yeah, that's
but
right. Roger Rabbit's the one, dude.
yeah,
That's the one.
yeah. But that about wraps it up for this week. So, this is I think this has been a great episode. Yes, me.
I think all our shows are great, dude. I don't know what you talk about.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm sick and I'm just feeling like we're having a good time.
Ah, there you go.
the
That's what it
the
is, man.
Dayquil's kicking in, bud.
Oh, that's what it is. It's Dayquil kicking in, huh? Yeah, that's it.
The
It's got to be
Dayquil
it.
kicking in.
Dude, but I hope
Absolutely.
you feel better. Thank you guys for all listening in. And, if we sounded a little weird, uh, it's just a little bit of some fog brain there.
Yeah,
But yeah, dude,
absolutely. But
I hope
this
you
has
feel
been the
better.
next
It's a great
level.
show.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. I'm glad you joined us, Victor. This has been the next level. My name is Josh Shaver. Joined
It's okay, dude. You
Victor,
got
I'm
it. You
doing
got
the
it. You got it.
outro, dog. It's okay. Josh and Victor, we talked about stuff. Thanks for listening to the Empire Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitch and our YouTube channel. We're always doing cool things. I need to put up some of my action figure collection on YouTube, if you know what I'm saying. So maybe I'll do that
Yeah, dude.
sometime
Yeah,
this
you
week.
should.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll catch you later. Thank you all, and goodbye.
Later.